Friends from the press, good afternoon. Welcome to press conference for the third session of the 14th National People's Congress. The theme of today's press conference is the economy. We are glad to be joined by 5 guests who will take your questions. They are Chairman of the National Development and Reform Commission, Mr. Zheng Shanjie, Minister of Finance, Mr. Lan Fuan, Minister of Commerce, Mr. Wang Wentao, Governor of the People's Bank of China, Mr. Pan Gongsheng, Chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission, Mr. Wu Qing. Thank you.
现在请直接开始提问。
The floor is now open.
请北区第一排第3位男士。谢谢。
Thank you. Market News International. A question for Mr. Zheng and the National Development and Reform Commission. The government work report set a GDP growth target of around 5% this year. However, some international institutions are expecting around 4.6 to 4.8%. How to ensure China reaches its goal of around 5% this year? And what specific work will the National Development and Reform Commission focus on to support achieving this target? Thank you.
美国国际市场新闻社，我的问题提给郑山杰主任和国家发展改革委。政府工作报告已经确定2025年中国经济发展的预期目标为5%。与此同时，一些国际机构的预测为4.6%到4.8%。请问您如何看待中国经济形势？今年5%左右的目标能否实现？那么国家发展改革委将如何推进相关工作？谢谢。
Thank you for your question. With this opportunity, I would like to also extend my appreciation to the friends from media for your interest and support for the work of development and reform. It is a question on everybody's mind. This year's growth target is set at around 5%. It is a decision made by the Party Central Committee and State Council through comprehensive evaluation and scientific verification and systematic balancing, as well as prudent deliberation. From the implementation level, we have done every preparation for realizing this target. Economic development is a continued process. We must first take stock of our economic development over the past year, which lays the foundation and shows the trajectory of the economic development. Over the past year, the journey we have traveled was actually extraordinary. The Chinese economy has demonstrated strong resilience and vitality. We have experienced a very good start, some fluctuations in the middle, and a very strong rebound at the end of the year. We have handed out a hard-earned and satisfying and inspiring answering sheet. Particularly, after careful deliberation, the Party Central Committee has acted decisively and rolled out a series of incremental policy, which played a decisive role in securing the growth target set for the year. There are 4 characteristics worth mentioning. First is the increment size is big. Our GDP output last year is approximately 135 trillion yuan. Judging from the world economy, we have contributed approximately 30% to the world economic growth. Our economy's annual increase is equivalent to the economic output of Shanghai, or even more. Or from the international perspective, and this annual increase is equivalent to the GDP of a country ranked at around 20th in the whole world. Second, the quality is high. New growth drivers are growing very fast. I would like to use a set of statistics to prove my point. The share of new industries, new forms, and new business models in the total GDP has increased to over 18%. The added value of high technology manufacturing industry has increased by 8.9%, faster than the growth rate of industries above designated cell by 3.1 percentage point. On new energy vehicles, the production of new energy vehicles output over the past year has exceeded 30 million units, accounting for 60% of the global output. The production of integrated circuit is also growing very fast. The exported volume of integrated circuit stood at 1.1 trillion yuan, which is also a historic high. The total R&D expenditure exceeds 3.6 trillion yuan, an increase of 8.3%. The number of patent-owning businesses in China stood at 500,000, increased by 16.1%. These are all excellent data proving China's economies, which also demonstrated the quality of China's economic growth. In the meantime, the transition and upgrading of traditional industries is also accelerating. Something worth mentioning is that the vitality of private economy is also growing. And they have accounted for 64.7% of the total export of this country, which added another 1.4 percentage point compared with the year before. Private investment in manufacturing sector and infrastructure sector increased by 10.8% and 5.8%, which is significantly faster than the average growth in investment. The third characteristic is a solid foundation. Our grain output over the past year exceeds 70 million tons, setting a new historic high. It is fair to say that the rice bowl of the Chinese people is firmly held in our own hands. Our energy supplies are better supported, and important resource reserve systems was improved, and basic public services level was further promoted. And the fourth characteristic is that the momentum is good. Strategic emerging industries, future industries, and many other core technologies has achieved new breakthroughs in areas like integrated circuit, artificial intelligence, aerospace, biomedicines, marine industries, as well as new material industries are all growing very fast, with new growth drivers cultivated in a faster pace. And the upward trajectory of the economy in the long term is much more salient. From a holistic approach, this result stands as a testament to the implementation of the decision of the Party Central Committee of ensuring both quantitative and qualitative growth of the economy, as well as coordinating high-quality development with high-level security. This result has laid a very solid foundation for this year's development. Just now, this journalist has asked that some international agencies are making different projections of China's economy. The one you have said is about 4.6 to 4.8%. We've also noticed that uncertainties in the external environment is also building up, and we're also witnessing problems like lack of demands domestically or the operational struggles of some businesses and industries. However, we believe that these problems arise in the course of development, which can all be addressed. From a holistic approach, we have advantage in our system, potential in our market, and vitality in our businesses. And most importantly, we have the courage to face up to these risks and challenges, and the confidence to address these issues. It is fair to say that the realization of this year's growth target is well supported. We're full of confidence of achieving that target. Use a catchphrase which is very popular in today's world. It is fair to put that hurdles loom insurmountable, yet each falls resolved. And the journey ahead runs endless but bright as we advance. And of course, arduous efforts are needed as a comprehensive department focusing on this particular area. We're going to act on the decisions of the Party Central Committee, as well as the specific arrangement of the government work report. And from the implementations perspective, we have listed measures from 10 different perspectives in our report in this year's 2 sessions. And I would like to briefly introduce from the following 4 aspects. First is to combine consumption promotion with well-being promotion and devote greater efforts to boost residents' consumption. For example, the trading policy, which has already been started last year, and our supporting capital for the trading policy has grown from 150 to 300 billion RMB, with the supported scope expanded as well. In addition, in order to adapt to the increasing diversified consumption needs, as well as consumers' scenarios, we are, together with multiple different departments, we are drafting a specialized plan of actions of boosting consumption, which will be issued shortly. Second, we'll combine the implementation or the improvement of shortcomings with boosting of future growth drivers. Public investment, with this year's ultra-long special treasury bond and local government special bond and central budgetary investment, we will have 5 trillion yuan of capital pool to support investment. And this process of investment, we're going to focus more on investment returns and prioritize projects that lays the foundation and benefit the long term. On private investment, over the past year, we have brought private capitals into important infrastructure projects, including nuclear power plants construction. Over the past year, we have also recommended 8,000 plus projects to private capitals, which achieved very good results. This year, we are going to continue to support private businesses to diversify their investment portfolio in emerging industries and future industries. We're also going to roll out a series of important projects in areas like railway, nuclear power plants, hydropower station, and important scientific infrastructure system. Third is to combine the cultivation of new growth drivers with the traditional ones, and to build a modern industrial system. On the one hand, we will continue to grow emerging industries and future industries. In the recent period, we're going to establish National Venture Investment Guiding Fund, which aims particularly at promoting innovative businesses. On the other hand, we're going to upgrade traditional industries. Recently, the executive meeting of the State Council studied policy to resolve structural contradictions in key industries. We're going to draft industry-based policy to guide the exit of low-performing productivities and expand supply of mid to high-end productivity to better let the supply side suits the changes of the need in the market. Fourth is to coordinate breakthroughs in specific areas with development in the overall picture. For example, we're going to further implement the guiding principles for building a unified national market, promote high standard opening up, and further unclog domestic international dual circulations, and comprehensively effectively lower the whole societal logistic cost. And we're going to reduce unreasonable costs in all sectors. And we're going to roll out and publicize the private economy promotion law. And we'll also speed up the resolution of overdue payment, which is on everybody's mind. According to the decisions of the Party Central Committee and the State Council, the NDRC will work with relevant departments to strengthen our coordination and comprehensive balancing, strengthen policy coordination in areas like fiscal policy, monetary policy, policy on employment, industries, investment, consumption, and regional policies. And we also enhance the macro policy consistency while boosting its performance and strive to meet the target set for the year. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。 请中区第2排第1位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。中央广播电视总台记者提问，我的问题呢提给蓝帆部长。蓝部长你好，政府工作报告对更加积极的财政政策做了部署。那么请问，今年的财政政策将在哪些方面体现更加积极？谢谢。
China Media Group. My question is for Minister Lan Fuan. The government work report lays out plans to adopt a more proactive fiscal policy. In what ways will this year's fiscal policy be more proactive? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. With this opportunity, I would like to first thank friends from media for interest and support for our work. More proactive fiscal policy is a new term that emerged in recent years, which attracted wide attention from the general public. Macro adjustment should be adapted to economic situation. In the same vein, it is needed to adopt discretionary fiscal policy and act in accordance with the trend. Adopting a more proactive fiscal policy is a major decision made by the Party Central Committee from a strategic and overall perspective, which fully grasps the need for realizing the annual growth target, as well as boosting the mid to long-term development, demonstrating the precision and forward-looking nature of macro adjustment. You have mentioned the word more proactive, which can be understood as more sustained and stronger policies. On the one hand, more effort is needed in carrying out existing policies. We need to implement well the policy package put forward in Q4 last year and make sure the sustained effect of these policies in 2025. On the other hand, more concrete incremental policy should be designed. We need to make full use of the policy space and draft more incremental policy focusing on livelihood, consumption, and future growth drivers, and ensure policy consistencies so as to carry out stronger and more precise policy to benefit all. There are 5 dimensions to look at this year's fiscal policies. First, more robust fiscal deficit arrangement. For this year, the deficit to GDP ratio is set at around 4%, which is 5.66 trillion RMB, adding 1.6 trillion RMB on top of last year's budget figure. Both the ratio and the scale of the deficit set a new record high in recent years, showing stronger counter-cyclical adjustment. Second, more robust fiscal spending. This year, general public expenditure in government budget are projected to increase by 4.4% to 29.7 trillion RMB compared with last year. More robust fiscal spending will inject solid impetus into the sustained and sound growth of the economy. Third, larger-scale government bonds. The additional special debt ceiling for local governments amounts to 4.4 trillion RMB. 1.3 trillion RMB of ultra-long special treasury bonds will be issued, giving greater priorities to renewal and trading policy. The first batch of special bonds of 500 billion RMB was scheduled to support large state-owned commercial banks in China to enhance their Tier 1 capital. Taking into account the treasury bonds for deficit financing and local government general bonds, the total added government bonds amounts to 11.86 trillion RMB with an increase of 2.9 trillion RMB compared with the year before. Fourth, more robust transfer payment. This year, the transfer payment from central government to local government is set at 10.34 trillion RMB, increased by 8.4% on comparable basis. Focusing on general transfer payment, it sets to enhance local fiscal autonomy and capability. We also scheduled incentive funds to boost high-quality development. and guide local government to strengthen quality and internal drivers of growth. Fifth, stronger support in key areas. This year's spending on education and social security and employment are all close to 4.5 trillion RMB, with a projected increase of 6.1% and 5.9% respectively, while spending on public health and housing and other areas rising continue to see high growth rates. In the meantime, we'll continue to strengthen scientific physical management, deepen reform in physical and tax system, faithfully implement the requirements for party and state organs to tighten their belts, and make sure that every coin is well spent. Here, I would like to add on top of what I've said, in order to respond to the uncertainties of domestic and international environment, the central government has left ample room for policy to be implemented in the coming year. Thank you.
请南区第3排第1位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是澎湃新闻的记者，我的问题想提给王文涛部长。王部长您好。今年以来，中国消费市场持续扩大，亮点纷呈，尤其是消费品以旧换新的政策带动了手机、平板电脑等新一波消费的热潮，服务消费表现很活跃，成为了推动消费市场增长的重要力量。请问下一步，商务部在扩消费方面还有哪些举措？谢谢。
The paper. My question is for Minister Wang Wentao. Since the beginning of this year, China's consumption market has continued to expand, marked by many highlights. In particular, consumer goods trade-in programs have led to a new wave of purchases of electronic devices such as mobile phones and tablets. Consumption of services has become an important driver for the growth of the consumption market. Going forward, what more measures will the Ministry of Commerce take to boost consumption? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question. I also want to thank all of you for the interest and support for the work of the Ministry of Commerce. Let me begin by a recap of last year. In terms of scale, total retail sales in 2024 amounted to 48.3 trillion yuan, up 3.5% year-on-year. Consumption remains the primary driver of economic growth. At the same time, consumption in services has sustained the momentum of positive growth, with total retail sales in services growing by 6.2% year-on-year, which is much faster than retail sales in consumer goods. So consumption in services has become a new growth area of consumption. You asked about the highlights and new trends. I think in terms of highlights and trends, consumer goods trading is now a buzzword. And Minister Zheng also mentioned this. Consumer goods trading is not just an economic policy, but also a concrete measure that brings benefits to the people. The trading program has generated new drivers for development, unleashed over 1.3 trillion yuan of automobile, home appliances and home decoration consumption, and boosted industrial transformation and upgrade, and the development of new quality productive forces. It is also a measure that brings benefits to the people, because more intelligent, greener and safer consumer products have entered millions of households. And through the trading program, people are now living a better and more quality life. In terms of consumption in services, you may have noticed that this year's Spring Festival saw booming sales in the consumer market. The Asian Winter Games ignited passion for ice and snow tourism. Ne Zha 2 and other films attracted moviegoers to cinemas. The incorporation of Spring Festival into the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List gave a strong boost to inbound tourism.
The Chinese New Year has become a global celebration. The momentum of consumption recovery and growth has been further consolidated. On the other hand, domestic demands remain sluggish, and the potential of consumption is yet to be fully released. Specifically, the main problems with consumption in goods include weak consumption capability and the willingness and dampened effective demand. While the main problems for consumption in services are the lack of supply, especially high-quality supply. The government work report has made plans for boosting consumption and stressed the need to stimulate economic flows and industrial upgrading by boosting and upgrading consumption. The Minister of Commerce will work with relevant ministries on the implementation of these policies. We will combine the efforts of boosting consumption and improving people's livelihood and come up with more practical and effective measures to release the potential of consumption. And this year, we will work on the following two priorities. The first priority is the continued implementation of the trading program. We will focus on expanding the program's coverage and deliver greater benefits to the people. Building on last year's policy and following the central government's decision, we have focused on meeting the actual demands of consumers and expanded the categories eligible for trading subsidies. For home appliances, the categories have expanded from 8+N to 12+N. And new subsidies have been introduced for mobile phones, tablets, smartwatches, and bands. According to statistics, by March the 5th, 310,000 applications for automobile scrapping subsidies and over 70,000 applications for automobile replacement subsidies have been received. Over 9.4 million consumers purchased over 12 million products under the 12 home appliances categories, and over 34 million consumers applied for trading subsidies for over 42 million mobile phones and other digital products. So the growth in applications is very rapid, and we've also upgraded our services and improved work efficiency to make the trading more convenient and safer for consumers and truly deliver the benefits of the policy. Another priority is trading services, and the key is opening to the world and revitalizing domestic market. Last year, China's per capita GDP surpassed $13,000. International experience shows that when per capita GDP exceeds $10,000, consumer demand for services will be released at a faster pace. We can see this from our own experience. In the past, people went shopping mainly to buy stuff, but now people have other options. They will choose places with good entertainment options, beautiful sceneries, and nice restaurants, which means they now care more about services. As I said, in consumption in services, the main problem lies in supply. Compared to the rapidly growing and increasingly diverse demands, new business forms and scenes featuring the integration of business, tourism, culture, and sports need to be innovated and improved. Education, medical services, health, and other sectors need to be further opened up. Gaps remain to be filled in the services for the elderly and children. Going forward, following the goal of opening to the world and revitalizing domestic market, the Ministry of Commerce will focus on increasing the supply of high-quality services to meet consumer demands in services at all levels. On opening to the world, we will promote pilot programs on widening market access in telecommunications, medical services, education, and other sectors, push for the orderly opening of internet, culture, and other sectors, and promote the comprehensive pilot programs of expanding, opening up in the service sector to spearhead the opening of service sector nationwide, attract more high-quality services, and improve the quality of supply. We will optimize the visa policies of foreigners coming to China, improve the convenience of immigration, accommodation, payment, and other services, and cultivate globally oriented education, medical service, as well as convention and exhibition markets. On revitalizing domestic market, last year the State Council issued the opinions on promoting high-quality development of consumption in services. This is a policy document of overarching importance. together with relevant departments, we have issued 18 policy documents in old age care, child care, cultural tourism, ice and snow economy, and other service sectors. So that's what we call 1+N. For example, the recently launched action plan of Silver Hair Tourist Train is highly popular among elderly tourists and also journalists. It has become a trending topic on social media. Going forward, we'll continue to roll out policies and special measures to support the development of key sectors and services concerning people's livelihood, and improve and increase the supply of diversified services in health, old age care, child care, domestic work, and other sectors by widening access, relaxing restrictions, and improving regulation. In the meantime, we will carry out the campaigns of service consumption upgrade and organize a series of events that promote service consumption, such as service consumption festivals and the Chinese gourmet festivals. And recently there was a event called Enjoying the Good Food when watching a good film. And also we have enjoying sports games and enjoying good food event. And we will continue to encourage various localities to promote integrated development of various business forms and create new scenes for service consumption in light of their local features and the specific consumer demands. Thank you.
这位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。新华社记者提问，这个问题想问潘行长。2024年货币政策成效明显。昨天的政府工作报告明确了2025年宏观政策取向，提出实施适度宽松的货币政策。请问央行在这些方面有怎样的考虑？谢谢。
Xinhua News Agency. My question is for Governor Pan. The monetary policy in 2024 was effective. The government work report has made clear the macro policy orientation for 2025, and it is proposed that an appropriately accommodative monetary policy will be applied. So for the PBOC, what are the considerations behind this? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Friends from the press, good afternoon. In 2024, the PBOC conducted multiple relatively big policy adjustments. In particular, in last September, we introduced a package of incremental financial policies which effectively boosted market confidence and contributed to steady growth of the economy. On aggregate policy, the required reserve ratio was cut twice, and we cut policy rate twice and guided LPR downward. On structural, we introduced relending programs to support science, technological innovation, tech transformation, and government-subsidized housing. And we improved financial policies for property market and reduced mortgage rate and minimum down payment ratios and pushed for lower interest rate of existing mortgage. On exchange rate, we adopted a holistic view and maintained stable expectations and kept RMB exchange rate basically stable under complex situations. On policy transmission, we improved the monetary policy framework and conducted buying and selling of treasury bonds in open market and advanced reform of the accounting method of quarterly value added of the financial sector and stepped up supervision and enforcement of interest rate policies. Generally speaking, the countercyclical adjustments were yielded notable results, and their benefits will continue to be felt. At the end of last year, aggregate financing at M2 and loans in RMB terms grew by 7 to 8%, all higher than the nominal growth rate of the economy by 3 percentage points. And cost of finance is also at a historic low. Yesterday, Premier Li delivered the government work report, which identified the projected targets, macro policy, and key tasks for 2025. The PBOC will faithfully follow the decisions and instructions of the central leadership, ensure sound implementation of the appropriately accommodative monetary policy, and strike the right balance between short-term and long-term needs, between stability of growth and risk prevention, between internal and internal equilibrium, and between supporting the real economy and keeping the health of the banking system. First, on aggregate policy. Monetary policy orientation is a description of status. Since last September, the Federal Reserve of the United States has cut its rates 3 times by a total of 100 basis points. But its policy rate is still at a high level. Its monetary policy is still restrictive. Over the past few years, the PPOC has cut the RRR and policy rate a few times, and our monetary policy is supportive. It is generally accommodative. As mentioned by Premier Li yesterday, we will continue to keep abreast with domestic and external economic and financial situations and financial market operation, and make a reasonable cuts to RRR and interest rate at appropriate time. And now we will also use a host of monetary policy tools, including open market maneuvers, MLF, relending and rediscount policy and policy rate to maintain sufficient liquidity in the market, to lower the debt cost of banks, and push for lower cost for aggregated financing, and to keep growth of aggregate financing and money supply in step with projected targets of economic growth and prices. On structure, we will strengthen financial support for major strategies, key areas, and weak links, further expand the relending for science, technology, innovation, and tech transformation, expand the coverage of policy support, and use all instruments under structural monetary policy to guide financial institutions to increase your input of credit to support sci-tech finance, green finance, small and micro businesses, and pension finance. And we will consider new instruments to give special support to investment and financing in sci-tech innovation to boost consumption and ensure stable trade. We will use the monetary policy tools in support of capital market and work with the CSRC to explore day-to-day institutional arrangements and support the steady development of the capital market. And third, on policy transformation, and will further improve the interest rate adjustment framework, continue to strengthen regulation of and on enforcement of interest rate policies, and we will advance measures such as capital replenishment by banks, ensure smooth function monetary policy transformation, and guide banks to make well-informed assessment of risks. We will also step up synergy and coordination with the fiscal policies to ensure the sound delivery of the proactive fiscal policy, and so as to facilitate dynamic equilibrium between industry supply and demand, and support economic structure transformation and upgrade, and also the shift from old growth drivers to new ones. At the same time, we'll work with the fiscal side to ensure the monetary policy has synergy with fiscal interest discount and risk compensation and other measures. Fourth, on exchange rate, we will stay committed to the decisive role of market in formulation of the exchange rate and ensure its adaptability. We will strengthen the guidance of expectations and resolutely guard against the risk of exchange rate overshooting. Keep the RMB exchange rate basically stable and adaptive and a balanced level. Thank you.
谢谢。是。
谢谢主持人。上海证券报中国证券网记者提问，我的问题想提给吴清主席。去年4月，国务院发布新国9条，证监会及相关方面配套出台了若干政策文件，请介绍一下相关政策文件的实施情况。政府工作报告提出要更大力度促进股市健康发展，证监会下一步有哪些考虑？
Shanghai Security News. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. Last April, the State Council published the new 9-point guideline on the capital market. The CSRC and relevant departments have issued policy documents in this regard. Could you brief us on how these policies are being implemented? In the government work report, it is proposed that greater efforts will be made to promote the healthy development of the stock market. What considerations does the CSRC have for the next steps? Thank you.
非常感谢您的 Thank you very much for the question, and I also want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for the interesting and support for the development of China's capital market. Last year, soon after the two sessions, the State Council issued the guidelines on strengthening regulation, preventing risks, and promoting the high-quality development of a capital market, also known as the new 9-point guideline. Over the past year, with the coordination of the Office of the Central Financial Commission, we have worked with relevant parties to speed up the implementation of the new 9-point guideline. We have also formulated and revised over 50 rules and institutions, which together constitute a 1+N policy framework. These efforts have systemically reshaped the foundational system and the underlying logic of regulation and have brought about positive and profound changes in the capital market. First, on strengthening regulation and investor protection. Following the principle of strict regulation and management, we have strengthened the regulatory system and improved the regulatory performance across the whole process of IPO, information disclosure, corporate governance, merger and acquisition, reorganization, trading, and delisting. We have taken prompt and resolute measures to investigate and punish serious violations that cause concerns in the market and are detested by investors, such as accounting fraud, fraudulent IPO, market manipulation, and insider trading. The General Office of the State Council has also promulgated the opinions on the comprehensive punishment and prevention of accounting fraud in the capital market. So we have worked with the relevant sides to launch a special campaign against the accounting fraud of listed companies and step up the investigation and punishment of typical cases of major consequences. In 2024, we handled 739 cases of various types, confiscated over 73 billion RMB yuan of illegal funds, transferred 178 cases and leased to public security authorities, up by 51% year-on-year. And disciplinary or administrative discipline is only the initial stage of punishment, and the laws are violated, criminal responsibilities will also be charged. We further charged the criminal responsibilities of the responsible persons of Kangde Xin, ST Xinyi, and other violation cases in the securities industry. In the meantime, we have paid close attention to protecting the lawful rights and interests of retail investors in accordance with law. We have pushed for the smooth conclusion of the two cases involving intermediary agencies. The two companies are System and Sino Essence, which are the first two cases after the promulgation of the securities law. We have also steadily advanced the two litigation cases involving the special representatives of Jintongling and Michel Ecology and the Landscape, achieving new progress in investor protection. Second, on preventing risks and stabilizing confidence. Last year, the market dynamics were quite complex, posing serious challenges to the stability of the stock market. We have worked with relevant sides to improve the mechanism for ensuring market stability and introduced a series of policy steps. We have improved the regulatory system for automated trading, fully suspended securities lending in accordance with law, improved the northbound information disclosure mechanism, seriously punished illegal shareholding reduction practices, including shareholding reduction through divorce, indirect shareholding reduction, and flash cash out. We have also worked to bring more capital into the market. The registration-based issuance of public mutual funds has visibly picked up speed, and the total scale of ETF funds have surpassed 3 trillion yuan. Market value of A shares held by public mutual funds increased from 5.1 trillion yuan in the beginning of 2024 to the current level of 6.2 trillion yuan, up by 21.6%. We have joined the PBOC in launching monetary policy tools in support of the capital market, and worked with relevant sides to issue the guidelines and the subsequent implementation plans for bringing medium and long-term funds into the market. Through the concerted efforts of all sides, the A-share market, the investor expectation and confidence have notably improved. Third, on promoting high-quality development. Since last year, to support sci-tech innovation and the development of new quality productive forces, we have issued the 16 guidelines for supporting S&T enterprises, the 8 guidelines on the Starboard, the 6 guidelines on merger and acquisition, and the opinions on the 5 key areas where the capital market could be leveraged to support high-quality development. In the meantime, we have taken raising the investment values of listed companies as an important anchor of our work, and encourage listed companies to give higher returns to investors, including multiple dividend payout per year and dividend payout before the Spring Festival. Last year, dividend payout of the whole market reached a historic high of 2.4 trillion yuan, up by 14.6%. More than 300 listed companies initiated dividend payout in the 2 months leading to the Spring Festival, with a total amount of over 340 billion yuan, which is another record in history. Last year, listed companies repurchased nearly 150 billion yuan of shares, also a new high. On the whole, the total amount of dividend payout and share repurchase far exceeds that of IPO refinancing and shareholding reduction. The dividend yield of the CSI 300 index has reached 3.4%. An ecosystem with greater balance between investment and financing is quickly taking shape in the market. The Central Economic Work Conference and the recently held meeting of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee both stressed the importance of stabilizing the real estate and the stock markets. And in the government work report delivered by the Premier yesterday, the goal of stabilizing the real estate and stock market have been included in the opening chapter, which is also a new development. We will resolutely implement these decisions and continuously push forward the implementation of the new 9-point guideline and the 1-point policy framework. We will deepen comprehensive reform of investment and financing in the capital market, and on that basis accelerate the new round of reform and opening up in the capital market and strengthen the foundation for the healthy development of the stock market. First, we will strengthen the inclusiveness and the multi-tiered market system. We will deepen reform of the Starboard, the growth enterprise market, and the Beijing Stock Exchange, improve differentiated arrangements involving IPO, information disclosure, and the sector structure, and promote the concentration of market resources in new industries, new business forms, and new technology fields. Second, we will further improve the coordination of investment and financing. We will strengthen the coordinated development and counter-cyclical adjustment mechanisms for the primary and secondary markets. Further improve the governance of listed companies, explore more concrete and effective measures to protect the lawful rights and interests of investors, and promote the effective check and balance between retail investors and the key minority investors, such as major shareholders and actual controllers of listed companies. We will encourage listed companies to enhance their awareness and ability of paying back to investors. We will also remove the bottlenecks and choke points that prevent social security, insurance, wealth management, and other funds and other medium long-term funds from entering the market, and bring more fresh water into the capital pool. Third, we will strengthen the effectiveness of regulatory law enforcement. On the one hand, we will seriously punish violations in accordance with the law, push for the introduction of judicial interpretation of breach of trust crime and regulatory rules for listed companies, speed up the revision of regulatory rules of securities companies, deepen interagency coordination and the coordination between central and local governments, and exercise effective joint penalties in accordance with law. On the other hand, we will strictly guard against violations based on responsibilities, strengthen the long-term mechanism for preventing accounting fraud, improve the whistleblower system, further ensure the gatekeeper responsibilities of intermediary agencies, further strengthen technology-empowered regulation and reinforce management at the source. Fourth, we will further strengthen the adaptability of the foundational market system. We will respect the laws of the market and respect rules, optimize the mechanisms for market pricing, evaluate and improve the mechanism for transaction settlement, and create a more equitable, efficient, attractive, and predictable institutional environment for all market participants. We will also steadily expand high-standard institutional opening up, improve the record filing system for overseas IPO, and steadily expand cross-border connectivity to better promote reform and development through opening up. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。请南区第2排第3位女士，谢谢。
谢谢。光明日报记者提问，我的问题是给蓝部长的。去年6万亿元债务置换政策推出后，国内外都很关注，想请您谈一谈政策实施的效果，以及下一步还有何考虑。
Guangming Daily. My question is for Minister Lan. The 6 trillion yuan debt replacement policy has drawn much attention from both China and other countries. Could you please brief us on the effects of the policy and what are the considerations for the next steps? Thank you.
关心的问题。
The issue I've raised is also a priority in our work. Under the instruction of the Party Central Committee, the MPC Standing Committee approved in the last quarter of 2024 a 6 trillion yuan increase in local government debt quota to be allocated over 3 years at 2 trillion yuan annually, aiming to replace existing implicit debt and support local risk mitigation. Through the policy design and institutional reconstruction, this policy proactively resolves risks while supporting local government to free up more funds and resources to support high-quality development. With this single policy, we have accomplished at least 3 major things. First, the pressure of debt was significantly alleviated and the risks mitigated. After the policy was introduced, local governments quickly carried out implementation. First, implicit debts were exposed, and the debt management was more standardized and transparent as of March 5th, 2025. Local governments have issued 2.96 trillion yuan of bonds for debt replacement. Second, high interest rate debts was replaced by low interest rate debt. The 2 trillion yuan replacement bond in 2024 achieved a significant interest rate reduction by 2.5 percentage points, with some places experiencing steeper decline. And these reductions are projected to save over 200 billion yuan of interest rate payment in a 5-year period, which significantly alleviated their pressure for interest rate payment. Third, priority was given to urgent and high-risk hidden debts so as to ensure financial security. Second, the space for fiscal policy and drivers for economic growth were further strengthened. Given the challenges in balancing payment in local governments, through the debt replacement program, we have removed bottlenecks in the economic circulations. Local governments have improved capital flows, allowing more solid support to sci-tech companies and small and medium-sized enterprises with capitals and financial resources. And on top of this, priorities in livelihood projects were better supported. Making full use of this policy, the local governments have freed up more resources to support bottom lines, including the 3 guarantees, as well as compulsory education, basic elderly care, basic health care, and subsistence allowance systems, etc. And finally, it helped to support high-quality development, as local governments now have more resources to support sci-tech innovation and consumption. and spending in these areas are increasing faster than the year before. Third, significant progress was made in financing platforms reform, and the optimization of financial environment continued. The debt replacement policy has effectively driven the exit of financing platforms. In the last quarter of last year, after the introduction of the debt replacement policy, 4,680 financing platforms were closed, accounting for more than two-thirds of the whole year. In the meantime, through driving the optimization of financial institutions' asset quality and enhancing their willingness to allocate credits, we can better serve the development of the real economy. Like what you have said, the implementation of as the implementation of the policy continues, it was widely welcomed by local governments and received positive feedbacks from major rating agencies and international organizations, as well as experts and scholars, proving that it is a wide choice from the Party Central Committee. The replacement policy has achieved a very good start, with policy effect being unleashed continuously. In the future, we will continue to focus on the implementation and strive for greater performance of the policy. In the future, our work will focus on the following three aspects. First, accelerate implementation of this policy. We will guide local governments to use the 2 trillion yuan quota of this year as soon as possible to replace hidden debts in a great precise manner, carried out whole process and whole chain supervision of the replacement fund so as to strive for early results of the policy. Second, continue to promote the reform of financing platforms. We will divest local platforms of their government financing functions, implement classified market-oriented transformation based on actual conditions, and strictly prevent SOEs and public institutions from continuing borrowing under new disguises. And thirdly, we will resolutely prevent newly added hidden debts. We will further optimize our monitoring system with a focus on preventing illegal borrowing, uphold the principle of not adding hidden debts, and resolutely resolve existing debts while preventing new ones from arising. Thank you very much.
继续提问，请中区靠后第4排这位多次举手的男士，第2位，对，第4排第2位，好，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。人民日报、人民网记者提问，我的问题是提给郑主任。去年以来，心智生产力成为经济工作的高频词 ，AI 大模型、人形机器人、国产原创药等不断涌现，在国内应用如火如荼，在国际上也引起了很大的轰动。请问，我国心智生产力发展取得了哪些成果？国家在培育心智生产力方面还将有哪些重要举措？谢谢。
People's Daily. My question is for Chairman Zhang. Since last year, new quality productive forces has become a keyword in economic work. New breakthroughs such as large AI models, humanoid robots, and homemade innovative drugs have emerged one after another. In addition to being widely applied in China, they have also created a significant impact worldwide. My question is, what has China achieved in developing new quality productive forces, and what more important measures will the government take to foster new quality productive forces? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The information you have shared, or the feeling you have shared, we have the same feeling with you. Over the past year, we have saw many highlights in sci-tech innovation. We got these immersive waves of cutting-edge innovation. These has delivered countless surprises to all of us, which has attracted wide attention from home and abroad. It is fair to say that new quality productive forces are reshaping our work and life. I have 3 deep impressions to share with all of you. First is faster breakthroughs. You have already mentioned that the much popular integrated circuit, both of the production and export, have set a new record high. more and more products are now equipped with Chinese chip. AI large language models have shown heated race with dark horses emerging everywhere. The application of industrial robots has also been promoted. Humanoid robot is also fast approaching commercial application, and a batch of internationally competitive homemade drugs are also emerging. There are more examples to come, and we have more cases ready at hand to share with you. And we have got this feeling that many of the scenarios painted in sci-fi movies of the past are now turning into realities. China is now making proud strides at the very forefront of the sci-fi innovation of the world. This, from different perspectives, some forces in the international community are trying to contain China, but these kind of efforts will only propel China's effort in terms of scientific innovation. Second is on faster industrial upgrading. Last year, the added value of China's high-tech manufacturing and equipment manufacturing accounted for 16.3% and 34.6% respectively. And the export volume of electronics, including cell phones and PCs, personal computers, accounted for approximately 60%. And the new energy vehicles industries, after 10 years of investment, have already formed a complete industrial systems. These are all testament to the one fact that our industrial chain is moving towards mid and high end. Third is faster growing drivers. Recently, phenomenal innovative products are emerging continuously. And the result of scientific research are transforming from papers into products, and more enterprises are now spending more on sci-tech innovation, creating stronger internal impetus for innovation. Like over the past more than a year, we have witnessed more and more dark horses emerged on the horizon and quickly turn into backbones of our innovation. Developing new quality productive forces is a long-term task and systematic project. We are going to focus on the following three aspects, including capital, talents, and ecosystem. First is on investment. We're going to spend more on sci-tech innovation. Just now, when I'm talking about macroeconomic performances, I have already mentioned that we will build the National Venture Capital Guiding Fund, which will mobilize local and private capital of around 1 trillion yuan. And this policy is to give priority on hardcore technology with long-term commitment, as well as high tolerance for failure, and to give this money to innovative-driven businesses in a market-based manner. At the same time, we are also going to refine policy on merger and acquisition and share transfer policy, and encourage development of merger and acquisition funds. We will unclog the exit channels of venture capitals and to attract more capitals to join venture investment. Second is on talent. We'll continue to cultivate high-quality talent pool. We're going to strengthen cultivation of outstanding talents in much-needed area. We're going to bring up a large number of strategic scientists, outstanding entrepreneurs, outstanding engineers, craftsmen, and high-skilled talents through practices. The third is on ecosystem. We're going to build an open, inclusive innovation ecosystem. We're going to put forward policy to support the development of new quality productive forces and to fine-tune our institutional underpinnings of supporting comprehensive innovation. And we're going to refine inclusive and prudent supervision to create an ecosystem full of vitality for innovation. Thank you.
请北区第3排这位女士，第2位，谢谢。
Thank you. From CNBC. My question is for PBOC Governor Pan Gongsheng. Recently, as we've been talking about, many Chinese companies have made some new technological innovations. What are the plans for financial measures to ensure the sustainable development of these new tech? Thank you.
美国消费者新闻与商业频道，我的问题提给潘功胜行长。近一段时间，中国一些科技企业在科技创新方面取得了很多新的进展。2025年，金融支持科技创新方面还将有哪些举措？谢谢。
好，谢谢。
Thank you for your question. Sci-tech innovation is vibrant in China, as you mentioned, and this vitality has attracted huge interest of domestic and international investors. Providing sound financial support for sci-tech innovation is a key task in implementing the innovation-driven development strategy and ensuring financial service for the real economy. It is also an important component of the financial supply-side structure reform. In recent years, together with relevant ministries, the PBOC has employed tools such as equity, bond, and insurance to strengthen financial support for sci-tech innovation. Sci-tech innovation activities are highly diverse. Tech firms at different phases of the life cycle, namely seed phase, startup phase, growth phase, and mature phase, have immensely different risks and financial needs. From the supply side, we need to further align the supply of financial services to their needs, and to cultivate a financial market that supports sci-tech innovation requires coordination of financial, sci-tech, and industrial policies, and it requires collaboration between the financial regulatory departments, the science and technology departments, the financial institutions, and tech firms, and requires relentless efforts. Recently, in order to further strengthen financial support for sci-tech innovation, the PBOC will work with the CSRC and the Ministry of Science and Technology to launch a Science and Technology Board of the bond market at the same time, and we will improve the re-lending program for sci-tech innovation and technological transformation. Let me briefly share with you some details. First, on the Science and Technology Bond, we will support financial institutions, tech firms, and private equity investors, these three types of entities, to issue sci-tech innovation bonds to enrich the variety of bond products for sci-tech innovation. First, we will support commercial banks, securities companies, financial assets investor firms to issue sci-tech innovation bonds to create new sources of funds for sci-tech-driven loans, bond investment, and equity investment. Second, we will support tech firms at growth and mature phases to issue medium to long-term bonds to raise funds for R&D investment projects, merger, acquisition, and restructuring. Third, we will support leading PE and startup investment institutions with rich experience to issue long-term sci-tech innovation bonds to mobilize more funds to invest in early stages, in small firms, in long-term projects, and in hardcore science and technology. At the same time, the Science and Technology Board will take into account the needs of tech firms and features of returns of equity funds to improve institutional arrangements for issuance and transactions, adopt an innovative approach to risk sharing, reduce the cost of bond issuance, and guide the bond funding to support sci-tech innovation in a more efficient, convenient, and low-cost way. Second, improving the re-lending policy. We intend to further improve the elements of this re-lending program. First, we will further expand the scale of this re-lending program from the current 500 billion yuan to 800 billion to 1 trillion yuan to better meet the financing needs of enterprises. And second, we will reduce the the interest rate of re-lending program between PBOC to commercial banks to strengthen policy incentives to banks. We will expand the coverage of this re-lending program. And we will also work with the Finance Ministry to keep the intensity of fiscal interest discount to lower the financing cost for enterprises. We will also improve the policy procedures for renminbi application so that it can be delivered at a higher efficiency and provide more facility. These specific measures will help stimulate the vitality of sci-tech innovation and market, and mobilize more social investment, including private and government funds, to invest in sci-tech innovation. Going forward, we will strengthen communication with relevant ministries to improve the policy systems in support of sci-tech innovation and cultivate a financial market that is supportive of this such innovation, and continuously enhance the capacity, intensity, and quality of financial support for sci-tech innovation. In conclusion, I want to say that we welcome international investors to invest in Chinese tech firms, and we are against politicization of normal market actions, and we are against unjustified barriers. Thank you.
3排第3位女士，谢谢。
深圳卫视直新闻记者提问，想请问王文涛部长，去年外部压力加大，内部困难增多，但中国外贸交出了一份亮眼的成绩单，对经济增长的贡献加大。政府工作报告对稳外贸做了部署，请问如何看待今年外贸发展面临的形势？商务部在稳外贸方面有什么考虑和具体的举措？谢谢。
Shenzhen TV. My question is for Minister Wang. Last year, despite growing external pressure and internal difficulties, China's foreign trade delivered a remarkable performance and made greater contributions to economic growth. The government work report lays out plans on stabilizing foreign trade. How do you view the development of foreign trade this year? What considerations and specific measures does the Ministry of Commerce have in terms of stabilizing foreign trade? Thank you.
好，谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question. I will answer your question in 2 aspects. The first, on the aspect of how should we assess the current situation. Under the strong leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at the core, and through the concerted efforts of all parties, China has delivered strong performance on foreign trade. As noted in the government work report, exports have contributed more to economic growth. What we have achieved has not come by easily. To sum up, we use 3 modes to describe the achievements. First, China's status as a major trading nation is more solid. In 2024, total trading goods increased by 5%, amounting to 43 trillion yuan. And export is expected to account for around 14.7% in the international market, securing China's position as the largest trader in goods for the 8th consecutive year. On trading services, the total volume reached 7.5 trillion yuan, up by 14.4%, which is about 10 percentage points faster than trade in goods. On US dollar term, trade has crossed the $1 trillion mark for the first time. This shows the changing structure of China's foreign trade. Second, more diverse trading partners. China is now a major trading partner for over 140 countries and regions. Among them, the share of Belt and Road participating countries in China's total foreign trade has surpassed 50% for the first time last year. I think that is also a landmark achievement that shows diversification of China's trade strategy. So we are not putting all the eggs in one basket. There will always be a part of the world where we can develop, grow our trade with. And that also demonstrates the strong resilience of China's foreign trade. We have signed 23 FTA agreements with 30 countries and regions, and the share of foreign trade with FTA partners has increased to 34%. Third, more dynamic driving force for development. On trading goods, from small home appliances like coffee machines and vacuum cleaners to big mechanical products like EVs and industrial robots, Chinese products are now featuring more high-tech elements and are gaining wide recognition in the world. Cross-border e-commerce has been growing at double digits for several years in a row, providing more product choices and a convenient shopping experience for global consumers. On trading services, As my colleague said, China's technological advances, including AI, quantum technology, and cloud computing, are creating new paradigms for service trade. Let me give you a popular example, DeepSeek. With its low-cost, high-performance open-source model, DeepSeek has lowered the threshold for global technology use. And Black Myth Wukong is another example. No Doubt 2, the film. And the charm of these products have paved the advance of technology has paved the way for Chinese games and films to explore the global market. While at present the negative impact of external environment is deepening, unilateralism and protectionism are on the rise. Certain countries is waving the stick of tariffs, disrupting the order of international trade, and bringing shock to the global production and supply chains. China's foreign trade is confronted with serious challenges. In light of the situation, the Party Central Committee has laid out plans, and the government work report has also established clear pathways. So to answer the second part of your question, what are we going to do? Going forward, we will make utmost efforts to stabilize foreign trade by stepping up policy implementation, expanding trade increments, and supporting companies. First, on stepping up policy implementation, we have adopted a series of policies to promote the stable growth in foreign trade. Various localities and departments are already in action. Some have issued rules of implementation, and some have formulated matching initiatives. We will work with them to implement these policies to good effect. In the meantime, we will step up policy efforts to stabilize foreign trade. And in light of the changing situation, we will address pressing issues in tandem with our efforts to promote high-quality trade. And we will expeditiously to explore and reserve new supportive policies, which will be rolled out when necessary to support companies in securing orders and exploring markets. Second, on expanding trade increment, we will push for the building of a new group of cross-border e-commerce comprehensive pilot zones, speed up the application of digital technologies in trade, vigorously expand green trade, and provide better public services. On trading services, there is still great space for development. In terms of scale, trading services still account for a mere 14.6% in China's foreign trade. Structure-wise, China's service trade remains largely underpinned by traditional services, while knowledge-intensive services account for only 38.5%, with a significant gap compared to developed countries. To expand foreign trade increment, boosting service trade through innovation should be an important part of our efforts. Our work in this area also has two priorities. One is promoting opening up and building platforms. Last year, we issued the negative lists of cross-border service trade, both the nationwide edition and the one for pilot-free trade zones. This is a milestone in the opening of China's service sector. We will fully implement these two negative lists and steadily promote tiered opening up. We will also launch the building of the national demonstration zones on the innovation-driven development of trading services, and cultivate a number of demonstration platforms on the comprehensive reform and opening up of trading services to provide a replicable experience for nationwide implementation. The other priority is promoting integration and ensuring real effect. We will step up efforts in inbound tourism, digital services, professional services, and bonded area plus services, promote integrated development trading goods, trading services, and digital trade, and cultivate new growth areas and new drivers of foreign trade. Third, on supporting companies to address the difficulties and challenges confronting foreign trade companies, we will further expand the scale and coverage of export credit insurance and increase the support of financial institutions services for them. We will continue to leverage the platforms of major exhibitions, including CIE, the China Import and Export Fair, the China International Fair for Trading Services, and the Global Digital Trade Expo, and support the participation of companies in exhibitions both home and abroad to expand the channels of trade and find more trade opportunities and partners. We are ready to negotiate and sign FTA agreements with more interested countries and regions, further expand the cooperation frameworks for trading services and digital trade, raise the level of trade liberalization and facilitation. Recently, my colleagues and I have met with many representatives of foreign businesses. They told me that the situation is rapidly changing, and they're also confronted with some difficulties. But they also told me that over the years, China's foreign trade has weathered winds and storms, gained experience by embracing the world, and proved its resilience against all odds. And they are confident that whatever the problems, solutions can always be found. We're also convinced that economic globalization is irreversible and global trade cooperation is an unstoppable process. We are confident and well-grounded in our ability to maintain stability of foreign trade and make new strides in building a strong trading nation. Thank you.
请北区第4排第4位浅市商业的女士，谢谢。
好，谢谢主持人。科技日报记者提问，我的问题是提给吴清主席的。吴主席您好，今年以来，以 DeepSeek 为代表的科技企业受到市场广泛关注，不少国际投资机构认为 DeepSeek 热将推动中国科技企业的价值重估，请问您怎么看待这一现象？也想问一下，资本市场要如何发挥自身优势，支持科技创新，更好地引领心智生产力的发展？谢谢。
Science and Technology Daily. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. Since the beginning of this year, technology companies represented by DeepSeek have attracted wide attention from the market. Many international investment institutions believe that this enthusiasm for DeepSeek may lead to a revaluation of Chinese tech firms. What is your opinion on this? And how can the capital market make better use of its strength to support technological innovation and drive the development of new quality productive forces? Thank you.
非常感谢您的问题。
Thank you very much for your question. I can see that the technology content in the meeting, in this press conference, is increasing, and our conference on the theme of economy is turning into a conference on the theme of science and technology. Indeed, the new quality productive forces has played a more important role in economic development. And AI is now a buzzword not just in the 2 sessions, but also in the whole world. And you will feel out of step with the times if you do not know about and talk about AI. And it is also a topic that the capital market is very following closely. The rise of DeepSeek in the global AI field has been mind-blowing for the AI industry. It has provided the world and the financial sector with a new perspective on China's technology innovation capability, and to some extent prompted a revaluation of Chinese assets. As we can see after the Spring Festival, there has been strong performance of A shares, strong performance of SciTech stock in the A shares and the Hong Kong market. It is also partly driven by DeepSeek and related developments. The capital market plays a unique and important role in supporting SciTech innovation, while the increase in the number of SciTech innovative companies also helps boost the vitality and appeal of the capital market and its ability to create values for investors. CSRC has all along attached high importance to supporting SciTech innovation. In recent years, we have seized the opportunities of the reforms of the starboard and the growth enterprise market to push for innovations in key systems and raise the technology content of the capital market. Last year, SciTech companies accounted for over 90% of all newly listed companies in starboard, the growth enterprise market, and the Beijing Stock Exchange. Currently, the market cap of listed companies in strategic emerging industries already accounts for over 40% of the whole Chinese stock market. In key sectors such as new energy, high-end manufacturing, new generation information technologies, and biomedicine, a group of leading enterprises have emerged, and the quality and efficiency of the services provided by the capital market for SciTech innovation have also notably improved. At the recent seminar with private enterprises, General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed the importance of promoting indigenous innovation and shifting the growth model. The government work report also made plans for promoting integrated development of technological and industrial innovations. We will faithfully implement these decisions, make a good and full use of existing mechanisms, actively study and improve the mechanisms, institutions, as well as product and service systems in support of new quality productive forces, and contribute to the advance of Chinese modernization with better services. Just now, all my colleagues talk about the importance of sci-tech innovation in advancing Chinese modernization. So as far as the capital market is concerned, first we will act expeditiously to strengthen the mechanisms that are specially launched for supporting sci-tech companies. We will ensure both efficient market and well-functioning government, focus on supporting sectors with vibrant sci-tech activities and key elements of new quality productive forces, make good use of green IPO channel, IPO for unprofitable companies and other systems, prudently implement the 5th edition of the IPO standards for the Star Board, and provide more tailored support for the IPO of high-quality sci-tech companies. We will also speed up efforts to improve the supporting mechanisms for the 6 guidelines on merger and acquisition, remove the bottlenecks in valuation and pricing, review and approval process and payment instruments, vigorously promote corporate merger and acquisition, to improve resource allocation and support the development of companies, and enable the successful conclusion of typical and demonstrative merger and acquisition cases of sci-tech innovative companies. Second, we will vigorously cultivate long-term capital and patient capital. And as Chairman Zheng said, the central government is introducing some substantial policy initiatives to support the relevant efforts. Globally, the rise of many pioneering sci-tech companies is attributed to the founding of long-term and patient capital. Only by enduring the solitude of a decade-long grind can one achieve the brilliance of a stunning breakthrough. We will further encourage private fund investors and managers to follow a long-term approach and provide more long-term support and value-added services to help sci-tech companies focus on their main business, dedicate themselves to scientific research, pursue innovation, and build the foundation for a sustainable business. We will also improve the regulatory rules and the mechanisms for private and venture capital funds and open up more market exit channels by optimizing the reverse link-up policy and advancing the pilot program for physical distribution of shares to investors, improving the transfer system for fund shares, and supporting the development of secondary market funds for private equity, or the S funds, and also the M&A funds. We will continue to follow an inclusive approach with regard to IPO, but IPO is not the only pathway for market entry and exit. We will work with relevant sides to improve the error tolerance in performance evaluation and other mechanisms, support the expansion of funding sources through multiple channels, and promote the healthy cycle of fundraising, investment management, and exit. Third, we will increase the supply of financial products and services in support of sci-tech innovation. Governor Pan from PBOC talked about bonds, but as far as the capital market is concerned, we also have quite a number of instruments. An IPO is not the only way for capital market to support sci-tech companies, and a stock is not the only instrument either. Many other products and instruments such as bonds, convertible bonds, preferred stock, equity, and futures can also play a big part. Together, they can provide companies with a steady stream of financing support and services, like passing the baton in a relay race. For instance, the bonds issued by sci-tech companies have now reached the level of 1.2 trillion yuan, which is not a small figure. We will continue to take coordinated steps to support sci-tech innovation, further improve the registration process for issuing sci-tech innovation bonds, steadily promote the securitization of IPR assets, and provide more comprehensive and efficient capital market services for sci-tech innovation. Sci-tech innovation is a process of exploring the unknown. While generating new drivers, it also brings with it new risks. So in different sectors, in different aspects of the life cycle, it may face different risks. Sci-tech companies often have uncertain business performances and a long waiting period for profitability. Once successful, they may undergo explosive or exponential growth, but if failed, they may also pay a huge price and even go bankrupt. This is the laws of the market and also the laws of innovation. So we do hope that the market will view the risks in the growth of sci-tech companies in a comprehensive, objective, and a cool-headed manner and adopt proper methods and tools to manage risks and gain profits. We should also give more understanding and tolerance to the listing of unprofitable companies and work together to foster a more healthy and a sound market environment for the development of new quality productive forces. And the innovation in the market ecosystem is a very important part of the efforts. Chairman Chen also talked about this. And understanding and tolerance are also important. So this is my response to the question. Thank you.
提问，请南区第一排这位多次举手的女士，对，第4位，第一排，是的。
谢谢。浙江日报潮新闻提问，我想问个民生的问题，想提给郑山杰主任。我们关注到今年两会期间，代表委员们就民生这个领域提了不少新的期待，群众讨论最多的也是民生这个话题。所以想请问国家发改委，在今年的工作中，就这项领域会有什么针对性的举措？谢谢。
Zhejiang Daily. My question is for Chairman Zheng. During this year's 2 sessions, NPC deputies and CPPCC members have brought forward many new expectations regarding people's well-being. This is also the most discussed topic among the public. So my question is, what targeted measures will the NDRC take this year? Thank you.
Thank you. In his New Year's message, General Secretary Xi Jinping said that of all the jobs in front of us, the most important is to ensure a happy life for our people. And high quality development at the end of the day is to give better lives to our people and to continue to inject betterment to our people's livelihood. In the past year, our incremental policy and incremental capitals or give priority to projects related to the well-being of the people. Over the past year, we have done many projects in this regard. In 2025, we will keep a close eye on issues that matter the most to the people and make active efforts to solve the most pressing difficulties concerns our people and treat these problems as the priorities of our work. And we are going to set to transfer the policy into actual benefits for our people. In short, it can be divided into 4 different aspects. First is to solve pressing issues. For example, on elderly and child cares, because every household has senior members or kids to taken care of. And in response to high work pressures, fast-paced lifestyle, and the need for elderly and child cares, it is much needed to enjoy community-based caring services. This year, we are going to work with relevant departments to focus on reducing costs, alleviating burdens, and optimizing services with a target on strengthening community-based caring services. We are going to use publicly built and private-run methods to provide more low-cost facilities to support specialized agencies to provide quality services. Just now, my colleagues has mentioned some opening up measures taken in the service sectors. We are also going to promote age-friendly renovation, including elevators and barrier-free facilities. We will also work to bring more diversified services into communities, including housekeeping, meal assistance, and disabled assistance, so that we can inject more love and care into the communities. Second is to work on difficult issues for the people. For example, on healthcare. Some of the hospitals at the primary level are short of talents and equipment, And for medical attention, people sometimes have to travel to major cities and major hospitals. This year, we are going to carry out grassroots healthcare capacity building program and provide much needed equipment to primary level hospitals, including at county level and the village level, where the concentration of population. And we also improve the mechanism of redirecting talents to grassroots levels. And we will strive to achieve the goal of common illness are treated within the city and daily healthcare needs are met at grassroots level. And we also promote a balanced, high-quality medical relocation and expansion. In recent years, we are promoting the implementation of the project on national regional healthcare centers. We will work to complete at an early date the already planned 125 regional medical centers. And through having the expert on-site or remote consulting services, we will provide opportunities to more people and with their access of high-quality medical services. Third is to work on the concerns of the people. For example, quality education is always on people's mind. In the years to come, we will adapt to the fluctuations in the school-age population and expand the supply of high-quality education services by balancing the teachers. We will include more schools into group-based schoolings and trusteeship assistance. We're going to build tens of thousands of compulsory education, new quality schools, and build thousands of quality high schools. In the meantime, we will continue to improve higher education. That is to say, we will promote the expansion of high-quality undergrad schools, meaning that we'll expand undergrad enrollment of the double first-rate universities. On this, last year we have expanded the scale to include 60,000 students, and this year we will work to include 20,000 more. In a word, we will strive to let more kids to receive a fair education with better quality. Fourth is to work on the much anticipated issues of the people. For example, in China, we have a huge population of migrant workers. Their top priority is to enjoy basic public services at the place where they live, including education, housing care, and as well as social security. This population is rather big, and it is a realistic concern for them. This year, we are going to coordinate all channels of our resources, give more support to the regions with more labor inflow, and will draft city-based implementation plans and strive to transform these migrant workers into new citizens of the urban population and enjoy equal basic public services like registered populations. In a word, the concerns list of the people are the to-do list of my department. We will check all the boxes one by one and case by case. Thank you.
大家继续提问，请中区靠后第4排第一位女士。是的，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。香港商报记者提问，我的问题提给蓝佛安部长。部长您好。提振消费是今年两会热议的高频词，请问政策的真金白银将如何支持消费？谢谢。
Hong Kong Commercial Daily. My question is for Minister Lan Fuan. Boosting consumption is a key word during this year's 2 sessions. So what kind of specific policies will be adopted to support consumption? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。Thank you for your question. In 2024, the central government has arranged 150 billion yuan ultra-long special treasury bond to support consumer product trading, which drove related products sales to exceed 1.3 trillion yuan, including home appliance and cars, which was widely recognized. And this has already been touched upon by my colleagues earlier. This year, the Party Central Committee has proposed to vigorously to boost consumption. It is a decision that will be faithfully implemented by physical departments. We will coordinate existing policy with incremental policy, the optimization of supply with the expansion of demand, and the revitalization of consumption with livelihood improvement, stimulus to current consumption with strengthening future drivers of growth. And there will be a stronger and more targeted policy to be drafted to support consumption. And the policy will focus on the following areas. First, we will set to promote direct subsidies to consumers, expand and intensify the implementation of consumer good trading program to unleash consumer demand. This year we have arranged 300 billion yuan of ultra-long special treasury bond, doubling the figure of last year. We have also included products like phones and tablets, which directly reduced their cost for consumers. And before the Spring Festival of this year, the early allocation of 81 billion yuan in subsidy funds gives the opportunity to the consumer to properly benefit from the policy dividend. Second, we also have to increase investment in livelihood-related sectors to stabilize household income, strengthen social security, and boost consumer confidence. For senior citizens, this year, basic pension for rural and urban residents will be increased. Pensions for retired workers will also be raised to appropriate level, which will benefit more than 300 million people. In the meantime, we will also provide better support to the services to the disabled elderly citizens. For babies, there will be child-raising subsidies. We will establish a national support system for preschool education. For students, the standards for subsidies will be further raised, while the coverage of the policy will be expanded. The national students' loan interest exemption and principal payment deferral policy will be continued. It is expected to benefit over 3.4 million people. For rural and urban residents, their basic medical insurance subsidies has been increased by 30 yuan, reaching 700 yuan per person annually. For low-income groups, subsidy levels will be raised continuously, and policies for extremely impoverished individuals, subsistence allowance recipient, and other disadvantaged groups will be further implemented. For employment vulnerable groups, we will implement a comprehensive policy framework integrating subsidies, unemployment safeguards, skill training, and welfare job placement to stabilize their employment and income. Third, we will set to enhance local support through subsidies and incentives, guide improvement of consumer environment, and optimize supply. On the one hand, we will further promote the development of pilot cities for modern commercial and trade circulation system, implement country-level commercial development initiative, and leverage policy effectiveness. On the other hand, this year, the central government has arranged additional fund for subsidies and incentives to mobilize local investment, promote new forms, new models, and new scenarios of consumptions, so as to create more consumer hotspots. We will promote the development of international consumption cities and enhance consumption convenience and experience. Fourth, we will strengthen the interaction between fiscal and financial policies and carry out 2 additional loan interest subsidy policies to inject more energy for consumption. First is the fiscal interest rate subsidies on personal consumption loans in key sectors to alleviate immediate financial burdens. Second is in key livelihood sectors, including catering and accommodation, healthcare, elderly care, childcare, and home services. In these sectors, differentiated scale subsidies will be given to business entities to reduce their financing costs and improve their capabilities to provide more quality services. In short, the policy package is strong and covering a wide area. It will help to unleash new potentials in consumption and grow new drivers for the economy. The Ministry of Finance will work with other departments to carry out well the existing policy and implement these incremental policy in the pipeline as soon as possible to further unleash public policy dividends, create sustained support for boosting consumption, and with which to further strengthen momentum for economic growth. Thank you.
请北区第2排第3位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。我是中国证券报记者，我的问题是提给吴清主席的。吴主席您好，2024年9月至今，证监会会同相关部门先后印发关于推动中长期资金入市的指导意见及实施方案。请问目前政策落地进展如何？取得了哪些成效？谢谢。
China Securities Journal. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. From last September, the CSRC, along with other departments, unveiled a guideline and an implementation plan on encouraging the flow of medium and long-term funds into the capital market. How are the policies being put into practice, and what progress has been achieved? Thank you.
非常感谢您的提问。
Thank you very much for your question. Medium and long-term funds are the stabilizer and a ballast for the healthy functioning of the capital market. Last September and in January this year, we worked with relevant sides to issue the guidelines implementation plan for attracting medium and long-term funds to the market and proposed a series of specific, practical and well-targeted measures to create a more favorable institutional environment for promoting long-term investment with long-term capital. The government work report delivered yesterday once again stressed the importance of promoting the flow of medium and long-term capital into the market. Governor Pan and Minister Lan and all the other relevant government departments are working expeditiously to promote implementation, and the policy effect can already be seen. The first, there are now notably more long-term capital in the market. Under the guidance of the PBOC, 2 rounds of swap facilities operation have been conducted by securities and fund companies with a total amount of over 100 billion yuan. More than 400 listed companies have disclosed information regarding the refinancing for stock repurchase and increasing holdings, and the loan quota is close to 80 billion yuan. The National Financial Regulatory Administration launched the second pilot program on the long-term stock investment of insurance funds, with 52 billion yuan of funds approved before the Spring Festival and 60 billion yuan approved the day before yesterday. In the future, the program will continue to be gradually expanded. The Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security is now promoting the nationwide implementation of the personal pension system. To support this effort, CSRC has incorporated the first group of 85 equity index funds into the catalogue of personal pension products. Since last September, insurance funds and various types of pension funds have made a net purchase of 280 billion yuan on the A-share market, providing strong support for the stabilization and recovery of the market. Second, the development of equity funds has notably picked up speed. Stock ETF products can now be registered within 5 working days. Since last year, new offerings like the CSI A500 Index Fund and the Star Composite Index product have gained wide recognition in the market. Starting from last September, a total of 449 equity funds have been registered, accounting for 70% of all registered products during the statistical period. The total scale of equity funds has increased from 6.3 trillion yuan to 7.7 trillion yuan. with its share in all public mutual funds rising from 20% to 24%, while quickly expanding in scale. The returns of public mutual funds are also steadily improving. To better protect the rights and interests of investors, we are also actively promoting the reform on the service fees of public mutual funds and reducing the comprehensive service fees in phases. This is expected to save more than 50 billion yuan for investors each year. And also through such reform, the interests of fund companies and those of investors are more closely aligned. Third, the system of long-cycle performance evaluation has been further improved. The Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security and other departments are pushing for the formulation and the revision of the policy document on the long-cycle performance evaluation of long-term capital. And as far as we know, the policy document will be released very soon. And with the release of the new document, it will pave the way for the establishment of long-cycle performance systems, minimum 5 years for Social Security funds and a minimum 3 years for annuity funds and insurance funds. In the reform plan for public mutual funds that will soon be released by CSRC, performance evaluation with a minimum of 3 years for public mutual funds will also take up a greater proportion. This will help guide the industry to pay more attention to rational, long-term and value-based investment and a better practice the investor-centered business principle. Through the concerted efforts of all sides, the implementation of the guidelines and implementation plan is now off to a good start, and more medium long-term funds are entering the market. Since last September, the market cap of A shares held by various types of medium and long-term funds has increased from 14.5 trillion yuan to 17.5 trillion yuan, 17.8 trillion yuan, up by 22%. Going forward, we will follow the instructions and guidance of the Office of the Central Financial Commission to further promote the sound implementation of various policy initiatives and endeavor to help medium and long-term funds preserve and grow their value and ensure the healthy development of the capital market. Thank you.
提问，下一个问题，请中区第二排这位女士，第二位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。亚洲新闻台向王文涛先生提问。The international community has watched the U.S. and China engage in what seems to be a renewed trade war. Now, just this week, China has announced countermeasures following the U.S. further hiking tariffs on Chinese goods. Is there concern from China that this could be a prolonged, bruising trade war? And what is China's long-term response and strategy in dealing with the U.S. moving forward?
新加坡亚洲新闻台，我的问题提给王文涛部长。国际社会高度关注美中经贸关系，两国似乎已进入新一轮贸易战。就在本周，针对美国再次对中国商品加征关税，中方已宣布采取反制措施。请问中方是否担心这将导致贸易战演荡升级？从长期看，中方接下来将采取怎样的策略同美方打交道？谢谢。
谢谢你。
Thank you for your question. Well, this is a question that has attracted a lot of attention in the international community and in the press. Yesterday, I was stopped by a journalist asking for my opinion on this question, and I told him that we are going to have a press conference today, and I hope that journalist is also present here today. Oh, I see you. First of all, I want to say a few words about the U.S. tariff on China on the excuse of fentanyl. On the issue of fentanyl, the relevant Chinese department has already issued a white paper explaining in detail the facts and the position and the policies and the measures taken by China, and stated China's clear position. Here I want to stress that on the fentanyl issue, the U.S. side must respect facts and take positive actions on its own, instead of simply shifting blames onto China, because that cannot solve the U.S. own problem. Even worse, levying tariffs on China with this as an excuse is confounding right and wrong and turning black into white. As we can see, after its inauguration, the new U.S. administration has released the American First Trade and Investment Policy Memorandum, reinstated the Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum against its global trading partners, and announced the decision to levy reciprocal tariff. It also proposed Section 301 actions, including imposing fees on China's shipbuilding and other industries. These practices of extortion with the threat of tariff are typical practices of unilateralism and bullying. They seriously violate WTO rules, undermine normal economic and trade cooperation between China and the United States, disrupt the stability in global industrial supply chains, and impede the development of the world economy. Ultimately, they will also hurt the interests of American people and American companies. These are classic cases of hurting others without benefiting oneself. As we can see, after the U.S. side announced the tariffs, the three major indexes in the American stock market fell on the news. I want to stress that trade war has no winner and protectionism leads nowhere. The unilateral policies and bullying practices of the U.S. side are against the trend of the times. They have caused wide concerns and opposition of the international community. Traditional Chinese wisdom observes that he who respects others will be respected in return. He who disrespects others should be treated with the same way he treats others. Coercion and extortion will not work on China, and they cannot intimidate China either. China is firm in its resolve to safeguarding its own interests. As for the unilateral tariffs imposed by the U.S. side, we have already taken necessary response measures in accordance with basic principles governing international law and the relevant laws and regulations. If the U.S. side goes further down this wrong path, we will continue to respond in kind. China always believes that China-U.S. economic ties are essentially mutually beneficial. There's no such thing as one side always suffers losses and the other side always gains benefits. Facts and statistics can fully prove that building wars with tariff cannot change the laws of the market or stop the progress of cooperation. In 2024, China-U.S. trade amounted to $688.2 billion, up 18% from 2017. According to the China Business Climate Survey Report 2025, released by AmCham China, 46% of the respondent companies plan to increase investment in 2025. And 46% of them saying that they are expected to gain profits, and even by a large margin. If China and the United States could both succeed, it will be an opportunity for the other side, not a threat. The two countries share extensive common interests and a broad cooperation space. China-U.S. cooperation serves the fundamental interests of the two peoples and meets the expectation of the international community. As two major countries with different national realities, it is normal for us to have differences in economy and trade. If the U.S. side truly wants to solve the problems, it should act like a big country and follow the right path, the right way to get along. Last month, I wrote letters to the new Minister of Commerce and Trade Representative of the United States, expressing the hope to address each other's concerns through equal-footed dialogue and consultation. Our two sides can meet at an appropriate time, and our teams can also have communication as early as possible. We hope that the U.S. side will work with China in the same direction pointed by the two presidents during the phone conversation, act on the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, enhance dialogue, manage differences, and advance cooperation, and work together to push for the healthy, stable, and sustainable development of China-U.S. economic ties. Thank you.
我们给后区的同志也一个机会。中区第5排，这位男士，对。
谢谢，我是封面新闻记者。我的问题想提给中国人民银行潘功胜行长。 潘行长您好，我们知道防控金融风险是金融工作的永恒主题。我想请问，当前重点领域金融风险的情况如何？金融支持地方融资平台化债有何进展？下一步在防控金融风险方面还有哪些重点工作？谢谢。
The cover. My question is for Governor Pan Gongsheng. Preventing and controlling financial risks is an internal theme of the financial work. How is the situation in preventing and controlling financial risks in key areas? What progress has been made in terms of supporting local financing platforms in diffusing debts through financial means? And going forward, what are the key tasks in preventing financial risks?
Thank you for your question. At present, China's financial system is stable on the whole. Our financial institutions are generally healthy. Risks in local government debt and the property market have continued to drop, and our financial market is operating steadily. First, China has taken prudent steps to reduce risks of high-risk, medium to small financial institutions through reform. As of the end of last year, commercial banks' capital adequacy ratio was lower than 16%. Our non-performing loan ratio was 1.5%, and provision coverage ratio was 211%, all significantly higher than regulatory benchmarks. That shows the stability of our financial market. In line with the principles of law and the market, the PBOC, together with regulators and local governments, have used real-time repair, merger and restructure, withdrawal from market, and other means to prudently deal with risks of medium to small banks. And the number of high-risk banks has been halved from the peak. The second, we have actively supported risk alleviation in and steady and sound development of the property market. Last year, based on our macroprudential management mandate, we have improved financial policies for the property market. We have lowered the down payment ratio to 15%, reduced the new mortgage interest rate, and worked for lower rate of existing mortgage. These policies will help over 50 million families save around 150 billion yuan of interest payment each year. We have guided financial institutions to support delivery of housing projects, and relevant market players have carried out self-repair through new operating tactics and debt restructuring and so on. Recently, debt indicators such as commercial housing unit sales and prices, loans of property sector, all point to a rise of activities in the property market. Third, we have achieved important progress in debt alleviation of financing vehicles. We have adopted strong measures together with relevant departments and local governments to reduce debt risks of local financing vehicles. First, we have urged for serious adherence to financial and economic discipline and urged local governments to mobilize resources, funds, and assets at hand to reduce debt risks. Second, we have supported local governments in conducting injection of assets, merger and restructuring to remove the government fundraising functions of the vehicles and transform them into market-based entities. Third, we have guided financial institutions based on principles of the market and law to conduct consultation with financing vehicles and use reduction of interest rate, extension of loans, and other means to alleviate the vehicle's liquidity and interest burden. With collective efforts, we have significantly reduced the debt risk of financing vehicles. And since 2023, the PBOC has established a standardized day-to-day monitoring system for debt of financing vehicles, under which local governments and financial institutions both submit data on debt, which will be cross-checked. Compared to early 2023, as of at the end of 2024, nearly 40% of local government financing vehicles have exited market through different means. The debt of financing vehicles may have two parts. First, hidden debts, and second, operational debt. Minister Lan just briefed you on the alleviation of hidden debt by those vehicles. Let me touch upon the operational debt of those vehicles. As of 2024, the scale of those vehicles' operational debt is 14.8 trillion yuan, which is 25% down compared to early 2023. Nearly 3/4 of these operational debts are borne by major economic provinces in central and eastern China, and they have strong capacity in alleviating debt burdens. In fourth quarter of 2024, the average interest rate of newly issued bonds by financing vehicles is 2.67%. This shows that the financial market's risk premium for financing vehicles is significantly lower. Fourth, we have explored steps to expand macroprudential and financial stability functions to ensure stable performance of the foreign exchange, bond, and stock markets. On the foreign exchange market, we have stayed committed to the decisive role of market in formulation of exchange rate. In the face of external shocks and challenges, we have decisively taken measures including macroprudential management at proper time. At the same time, we have strengthened guidance for expectations and communication with market players and rectified pro-cyclical behaviors in the market to prevent risk of foreign exchange rate overshooting. While many non-US dollar currencies depreciated to different extents, we have kept basic stability of the RMB exchange rate. Now our economic fundamentals continue to improve. We have basic equilibrium of international balance of payments. Our foreign exchange market is more resilient, and we have more extensive use of hedging instruments. We have the experience and the confidence and capability to ensure the stability of foreign exchange market. On the bond market, as of the end of last year, the default rate of bond was around 0.25%, still at a low level. At the same time, in response to rapid decline of long-term treasury bond yield in a short period of time, we have observed market operation from a macroprudential perspective and conducted timely risk notice for relevant institutions to forestall the accumulation of risks. On capital market, we have worked together with the CSRC to create the SFISF, which was briefly touched upon by Chairman Wu Qing. And so far, we have conducted 2 operations using this swap facility. And as of February of this year, listed firms have disclosed intention to apply for a maximum of 75 billion yuan of loans for share buybacks and holding increase. Going forward, we will continue to hold the red line of no systemic financial risk. First of all, we will closely follow the connection between macroeconomic performance fluctuations with financial risks. We will continue to keep a dynamic balance between economic growth, economic structural adjustment, and prevention of financial risks, and strengthen counter-cyclical adjustment to provide a sound monetary and financial environment for high-quality development. Second, we will guard against external shocks and external risks, which was touched upon by Minister Wang Wentao. At the same time, at present, we face a more complicated and serious external environment. Unilateralism, protectionism are on the rise, global supply chains and industry chains are unstable, geopolitical tensions have led to greater tensions. Major economies, inflation, and monetary policies have led to greater uncertainty, which have impacted market expectations and investment confidence. This has brought spillover effects to China's stable financial and economic performance. We will strengthen monetary assessment early warning against external risks and improve our measures to guard against external shocks, so as to protect our financial security. Third, we will strengthen the effectiveness of financial regulation. Financial regulation is the first defense against financial risks. We will strengthen our capacity building in monitoring early warning assessment of financial risks, improve risk response mechanism that has commensurate powers and responsibility and improves both incentives and restraints, and also create a better early warning, early identification, and early response measures. The fourth, we will improve our macro-prudential management policies, better to strengthen counter-cyclical management, such as capital buffer, and expand and explore more policy.
谢谢主持人。每日经济新闻记者提问，我的问题提给国家发改委郑善杰主任。今年是“十四五”规划的收官之年，也是谋划“十五五”规划的关键一年。这几年，全国人民一起经历了很多大事难事。您如何看待这几年经济社会发生的变化？能否介绍一下“十五五”规划的相关情况？谢谢。
National Business Daily. My question is for Chairman Zheng Shanjie. This year is the final year of implementing the 14th Five-Year Plan. It is also a crucial year for formulating the 15th Five-Year Plan. Over the past years, the Chinese people together have experienced many big things and difficulties. What do you think of the changes in social and economic development these years? And could you please tell us more about the 15th Five-Year Plan? Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you for your question. The issue you have raised, or which you have talked about the 14th Five-Year Plan, is something that everyone is thinking about and is also a part of. Since the implementation of the 14th Five-Year Plan under the strong leadership of the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, the whole nation has worked in unity, transforming the blueprint of the 14th Five-Year Plan bit by bit into reality. And we have to say that progress made are all in line with expectation. To take a holistic approach, China's comprehensive strength was boosted, and the overall stability was maintained in a society. And the image of China as trustworthy, lovable, respectable has gained wider international recognition. In the specifics, it can be seen in the following 6 aspects. First, huge increase in comprehensive strength. China's economy has presented the strength as a world major country. The aggregated sum of our GDP is growing year by year. It is estimated that the growth over the period of the 14th Five-Year Plan were registered at 30 trillion yuan in that period. That is to say, we have created another Yangtze Delta economic region. Or internationally, it is the equivalent of the annual GDP output of a developed economy. China is also the largest source of growth for global economy. Second is increased industrial competitiveness. China has formed a complete industrial system. In industries, we have 41 industrial divisions, 207 groups, and 666 classes, making China the only country that has all the industrial clusters and divisions in the world. In the meantime, our industrial chain is also moving fast towards high and mid-end. Third is increase in sci-tech innovation. China is seeing great breakthroughs in basic research as well as key technologies. We have secured many quote-unquote first times in China and many first time in the world. For example, in areas like integrated circuit, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, aerospace, maritime technology, high-speed railway, and many other areas, we're seeing more and more breakthroughs coming at our way. And on homemade cruise ships, airliners, nuclear power plant, heavy-duty gas turbines have also attracted wide attention. It is fair to say that Made in China is transforming into Create in China or Innovate in China. Just now, my colleagues have mentioned that the press conference today are seeing greater content of sci-tech innovation-related contents. It is truly the case, because we can say that sci-tech innovation are coming out of ways in waves, which is fundamentally reshaping our lives. Fourth is increase in capacity of protecting people's well-being. In recent years, we have spent no effort in stabilizing employment, boosting income, and created 50 million urban jobs. And income growth is basically in line with economic growth. And the public services and social security system was strengthened, and pensions are rising. Just now, my colleagues have already also briefed you on this. And direct settlement of cross-provincial medical bills are becoming much more convenient, and more community-based services are available at doorstep, and our environment quality has been improved. This is something that everyone can feel. You can see the sky is turning bluer, and water cleaner, and grass greener. And fifth, increase in security foundation. Food and energy security have all marched on new levels, and the resilience and level of security has been boosted in the industrial chain and supply chain, as well as in the financial sector. And on the infrastructure supporting our development, for example, in terms of operating distance of high-speed railway reached 48,000 kilometers. That is approximately 70% of the whole world. The operating distance of highway has reached 190,000 kilometers, ranking first in the world. And for example, the total scale of computing power has doubled in recent years, and the data production is growing at a faster pace. And the growth of our data production is basically equivalent to the aggregated data of 15 million national libraries. 6. The image and profile as a major country were further promoted. China has signed Belt and Road cooperation documents with 150-plus countries and 30-plus international organizations. We have advanced in a parallel manner signatory project as well as small and beautiful livelihood projects. We have carried out extensive cooperation on industries and investment with countries around the world. The three major initiatives proposed by President Xi Jinping are becoming global consensus. China has fully played out its role as a responsible major country. We have continued to expand high standard opening up. And you all know that we have removed all the barriers on foreign investment to the infrastructure, to the manufacturing businesses. And in terms of the measures on the negative list, it has been further reduced to 29 clauses. We have continued to broaden space for win-win cooperation. After the years of implementing the 14th five-year plan, the confidence we have for high-quality development has been further boosted. This year, we are going to act on the decisions of the Party Central Committee and State Council, and we will do well the formulation of the 15th five-year plan, as well with the focus of the following two things. First is that we will implement the suggestions of the Party Central Committee to draft the 15th five-year plan. On the basis of thorough research, we will work with relevant parties to draft outlines and propose a series of important strategies, important policies, as well as important projects. And the draft outline will be submitted to the next year's two sessions. Second, we will draft a batch of important specialized plans and regional plans. These plans will cover scientific innovation, industrial development, social programs, cultural development, and eco-environment. And the areas that has close connections with the people, for example, employment, education, healthcare, and social security, will also be included. And the drafting of the outline of the 15th five-year plan is a process that requires us to pull wisdom and consensus from the public. We will adopt different methods and listen carefully to the suggestions and advices from the deputies of the MPC as well as the CPPCC, from the general public, entrepreneurs, scholars, and experts, so that we can make this 15th five-year plan better reflects the needs of development and the people. Thank you.
现在已经过了2个多小时，因为时间的原因呢，今天的记者会到此结束。谢谢各位嘉宾，谢谢大家。
Friends from the press, in the interest of time, the press conference will end here. Thank you, distinguished guests. Thank you all.
好。